Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy whose cat is sitting on his notes. And she turned around, she's still sitting on them though. Hey, good girl. Fucking ruining everything. Alright, I'm here to talk about Tabatha Ricci versus Gillian Robertson. Tabatha Ricci they're both 28 years old. And by the way, these are two of my favorite female fighters. I really like both these girls. Of course, Gillian Robertson, I guess I like more because she's putting in the time. She's put in the time over the years. Tabatha Ricci, she is 8-1, and she's giving up 4 inches of height and 1 inch of reach to Gillian Robertson, who is 12-7. And a great amount of that comes in the UFC. She's had a lot of UFC fights. I feel like, without adding it up or doing the math and whatever, I think she's definitely had more fights than probably all the girls that have stuck around since her season of The Ultimate Fighter. But yeah, let's get into it. Gillian Robertson, like I say every time, she's the female Jeremy Horn. Just a really solid, technically sound, top game fighter with great passing and great submissions. She's just insane from the top. Not that she's a slouch from the bottom, but she's insane on top. And here, she's down at strawweight, and she's put on muscle. I think that was the narrative last time anyway, and it certainly looked that way against Pierre Rodriguez. So I really like Gillian Robertson's future, despite her having a long UFC career at this point. She's still relatively young, 28, and she's one of the best submission artists in the entire UFC. Just fucking awesome. Her 12 wins come 1 by knockout, or TKO, 9 by submission, and 2 by decision. The 7 losses, 1 by knockout, 1 by submission, 5 by decision, all to UFC fighters, and all of which, aside from 2, are in the UFC. She was knocked out by Macy Barber, submitted by Mayra Bueno Silva, and then lost decisions to JJ Aldrich, Miranda Maverick, Tyler Santos, Cynthia Calvillo, and Hannah Goldie. Those last 2 beat her outside the UFC. But Gillian, she's just a savage, as her nickname would indicate. When she's on top, she's kind of like this pretty dainty type or whatever, but when she's on top, she's a fucking savage. She's mean when she secures that position, which position will always come first, but she's violent. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten more TKOs, just from throwing those elbows from the full mount. It's just a means to an end, though. They give her openings, and she goes for it. And I was listening to an interview with her recently. I guess there was the Joe Rogan interview. She was on Joe Rogan's show, and she talked about wanting to get that first knockout. And I think said something like, hopefully it comes in time. But my advice would be, don't even think about it. If an opening presents itself, and a neck giving itself to you, take the neck, or the arm, or whatever else. As she has over many great fighters. Pierre Rodriguez, her last one, that's where, I thought there was a chance she'd lose the physicality battle there. No. She dominated in that fight, ripped her to the mat, and ended up armbarring her in round 2. Maria Agapova, that's a tough girl to dominate physically, but she still ended up taming that beast and got her out of there with a round 2 rear naked choke. Cachoeira, that was her prior victory. Before that was another rear naked choke deep in round 1. Most of Gillian's finishes come deeper into the fight. It's rare that she gets the opponent out of there in round 1. Maybe not so rare. I haven't done written down the stats. But most of the victories come deeper into the fight. Courtney Casey, round 3. Sarah Frota, TKO, round 2. That was the TKO from the mount, though. Veronica Macedo, round 2. Most of her finishes come down the stretch because she typically, doesn't have the athleticism and the physicality to really bully anybody around early. She's got to take over the fight with her technique and her cardio and the whole package, and then typically gets finishes down the stretch. Tabatha Ricci, she is 8-1. She's got 1 TKO victory, 3 submissions, and 4 decisions. Her 1 loss comes by TKO. Of course, I think that was on very short notice, and it was up a weight class against Menon Fior, who's fighting whoever the fuck. Maybe Grasso or Valentina next, or whoever. She's going to be fighting for a title this year, I think, hopefully. But either way, that girl, there's no shame in losing to that girl. That's a very tough matchup, a girl that's difficult to wrangle, which Tabatha Ricci wants to do. and just fucking another monster at a higher weight class. So very forgivable loss. But other than that, she's never been bested. She comes from that Seiza program, which I've mentioned on this channel before. She's a judoka, and that Seiza is like this Japanese, farm program for MMA talent, and it's unique rule set and whatever. But she's shined there. She's a big, strong judoka, and she's proven to be deadly too at the UFC level, getting a submission, especially over Jessica Penne in her last fight. That was awesome. But Tabatha Ricci, she's also proven to be a really good, hard, controlling fighter, ripping fighters to the mat, and not just with judo throws, also with excellent wrestling. And she is a really sharp, strong athlete and a tough girl to beat, I think, with a tough girl to submit. So in this fight, I really like Tabatha Ricci. As much as I love Gillian Robertson, and I kind of hope I'm wrong here, I've convinced myself that there's a lot of value on Tabatha Ricci at minus 145. Of course, I'm waiting for the prop bets to become available. But I think if she does win the fight, it's more than likely by decision, and that will definitely be the pick and the prop bet. But right now, I do think there's a lot of value on her money line. I've played that. I think Tabatha Ricci's going to do what I thought Pierre Rodriguez could do, and that's take away a lot of Gillian's opportunities with physicality, not to mention her judo pedigree and her overall athleticism and wrestling and everything else. I think she's going to win the top position battle, which is going to take away a lot of Gillian's opportunities. And on the feet, Gillian, she's a seasoned striker at this point. She's been striking in front of her eyes for a very long time, but there's still a lot to be desired. She's never going to be the more powerful girl, and Tabatha Ricci's pretty damn powerful. So I think overall I expect her to get the better of Gillian. I'd love to be wrong, but in order for me to be wrong, Gillian's going to have to start getting some takedowns early. So make no mistake about it, I'll be betting on Gillian Robertson by submission deep into the fight, rounds 2 and 3. I'll be betting on that, but overall, I think this one likely goes to the decision, and it's not going to be going Gillian's way. I think Tabatha's going to be winning the top position battle and the overall MMA battle everywhere it goes by being the sharper, stronger athlete, and she's got so much promise. I think she's going to get it done. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.